using their communication with their employees and their staff and their volunteers to talk to them about making sure that they're resilient, that they prepare at home so that they can be there to open the store, they can be there to volunteer. How many of our volunteers are leaving their homes, leaving their families, and we need to make sure that they're not only going out to work, but that they're also taking that message home and making sure that their families are prepared before they step out of the door so they can answer the call. One particular way that we did that among many is the fact that we took an approach that was maybe the reverse of some other community programs or governmental programs. We didn't just develop a program and walk out and say, this is what you should do. We brought them in and said, why aren't you doing this? What are your barriers? And each time our table of panelists said to us, this is a challenge we had, we came up with a solution. You don't have the resources to buy materials or to put out preparedness guides, we'll provide it to you. We'll send you a preparedness event in a box. Everything you need, a little white box to set up an event in your office. You don't have, you can't get community buy-in, you can't get executive buy-in, we'll help you. We'll provide a seal, something that you can demonstrate your engagement with the community. These are all tools we want to listen to the community, the organizations that want them to tell us what they needed from us, and then we responded in a way. And fortunately, over the past couple of years, as we've developed the program, we now have 250 plus businesses who represent more than 500,000 employees and community volunteers in the city who've actively engaged in taking steps to prepare. And we're really excited to be here. I'm excited to be here on the panel to hear from other people and some of the things that they're doing, and look forward to growing our program together with everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just want to thank everyone here today that came for this event. I think that's amazing that you're all here and took time out of your busy day today to learn a little bit more about the programs that we have. That is my goal during this short 3-minute speech, to give you possibly that you may be able to take back to your communities, to your organizations, to your churches, and actually initiate. That's what's so great about, I think, all of us being here today is when we received the FEMA Community and Partnership Award in 2012 for our Home Alone Emergency Preparedness Workshops. We weren't expecting it, but we started getting just requests from all over the country, from Virginia all the way over to California, for information where they could implement this program. And during the past 2 years, I am from the Northeast Pennsylvania region of American Red Cross, which covers 16 counties. And we were severely affected, one by Hurricane Irene and Lee, and then following Hurricane Sandy. And after those two big hurricanes just recent, our community really has become aware and want to take action to become resilient and to make that change. I really think preparedness is changing the way we think to become resilient. And as I'm here today, I probably won't get home till about 10 o'clock to Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, and my children will be home alone. And they will get off the school bus and they will come home. They'll have to make themselves dinner. They'll have to do their homework. They'll have to let the dog out. And hopefully in between that, there's no emergency or disaster. But that's why we initiated these Home Alone Emergency Preparedness Workshops that we can, they're very interactive. It's a 90-minute session in the schools for 4th and 5th graders because these kids in Northeast Pennsylvania region, we're 90 minutes from New York City, and we have a large part that commute into the city, and also due to our economy, both parents are working and sometimes each have 2 jobs. So we prepare these kids, not just giving them the information, but interactive stations, and they learn about each disaster to hopefully feel more confident. So if that disaster or emergency does happen, they're a little bit more prepared and a little bit more confident themselves at 4th and 5th grade, and then they can help prepare their families. Thank you. Oops.
Hi, I'm Colleen Adler with West Pierce Fire and Rescue, and I'm tremendously honored to be here to represent West Pierce Fire and Rescue and our CERT volunteers. Our program came into being in 2009 when some members of the department approached the chief about preparing the community, working harder to preparing the community. He came to me and asked if I would like to head that up, and I previously worked in the 911 center, and I said, heck yes, I'd love to prepare people before their emergency rather than deal with them after. So honestly, somebody mentioned previously that people have to give you the job and get out of the way, and they did that. I kind of said, well, what are the parameters? And they said, just go get people prepared. And so that really left a lot open for me. And one of the things that was so important to me in order to teach CERT, and we identified the CERT program as a way we wanted to go, but in order to teach that, I thought, well, I better take the class. So I went to a neighboring jurisdiction and took the class. And as I went through the class, I intentionally felt what I would feel as a citizen, where I felt empowered or where I felt neglected or those kind of things. So what I brought back was the importance of recognizing each individual who came to our classes and was devoting 20 to 24 hours of their personal time to learn how to prepare for a disaster. So through that, I worked very hard to know their names and to know kind of a little bit about their background. We're over 400 people now, so my mind is getting just a little bit shot. But it's important for people to know that you know them and you respect them. The other component that is so important is that our firefighters who teach this program have done so in a very conversational way and a non-intimidating way. So they're coming alongside citizens. It's important not to tell citizens what to do, but to come alongside and say, hey, we have the same failure. Hey, we went through the same thing. This is how we came out in the end, and we're doing it together. Because when you tell people what to do, but if you come along with them, then they're more likely to get engaged and come back with ideas for you to do it better next time. So I'm very proud of our program. I'm very proud of our CERT volunteers and our CERT team leaders who give us lots of feedback for future classes, and I really try to pay attention to what they want, and I think that's what made our program so successful. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Mohamed Ali, and I hope everybody knows Mohamed Ali is not new to being a champion, so yeah. But I am the 2013 champion. Thank you for this great honor to be here today, something I could never have imagined when I was growing up in Somalia. We refugees, immigrants, new Americans are resilient people. We find strength in our families, in our social bonds, and in our faith. We have survived wars, we have survived refugee camps, and for many like me, we have started new lives in America. But we are not resilient to everything. Many in our communities face barriers everyday life that make it harder to be resilient to disasters. They don't have easy access to information because of language issues. They are often unaware of the emergency services, and they are unfamiliar with some of the hazards that arise in the Seattle area where I live. Those arise that attention to in 2006, when Seattle, King County area confronted by a terrible storm that left 4 million people in 15 counties without electrical power. Hospitals reported a number of carbon monoxide poisoning, ultimately reaching 259 reported cases and 8 deaths. Recent immigrants, particularly those from warmer climates, were the most heavily impacted. Fast forward to winter 2012, when another significant winter storm was forecast. This time, I was in a unique position to help my community. I had a strong connection with public health, King County, Seattle, and I understood the danger that my community faced, and I was trusted a leader with knowledge in health. When I received the call of warning from the health department, I felt a great responsibility that the health of the entire community depended on me. I contacted the local faith centers, mosques, and together we worked around the clock we set up automated phone calls to warn them around the dangers of carbon monoxide poisoning. We fielded their calls for help. We transported them in those treacherous conditions, and we sheltered and fed those victims.